Hey everyone, it's Ariah. Welcome back to Vast Error. I'm so excited to be continuing reading this today. Last time we had Dismas, and Murrit that we were talking to. That we met, and they were talking to each other. They're apparently Kismases. And Murrit was going on and on and on about how the world's ending, and Dismas did not seem to be one to believe him, at least at this point in the comic. So I'm somewhat excited. I'm very excited to continue. I hope I can remember voices. I might not. I might have to pause and go check my footage as we get to characters to voice in this episode, but that shouldn't affect you guys. There's the magic of editing. Anyways, yeah. So we let us try being the blue guy once more. Oh, okay. Prospit Dreamer. We have our first instance of being shown on Prospit or Durs. There we go. It seems like the final member of our initial half group is available to us at last. So our initial half group. That's yeah. They did say the very last introduction in this section. So I wonder what they mean by this section. All right. As we've seen, he is one of the two aforementioned blue guys. We are not yet in a position to reveal his true name. That comes later, but the nondescript moniker fits him just as well, or so he would think. Truly a pity. Regardless, we'll have to patiently wait for when the opportunity for a formal introduction presents itself. For now, blue guy, look at papers. I presume the formal opportunity that they're describing is when they're awake. I think since we're following them as their dream self right now, when we're introduced to them, they should be in their room. We should be able to see their stuff. So I presume that's what they mean by a formal introduction. All right, Prospect Daily. Moon Union tensions on the rise. Predicted awakening of heroes of breath, rage, blood, life, and hope. Okay. Night something to buy paper company Okay. Okay, so this is the night. Because the hair looks similar, and I think this is about the night. Like, I don't know, the night had they got the paper, right? So, but why would that? Maybe that was from a previous day or something. But this definitely is this character. So it must be the night. All right. Do I have notes? Not really. Um, I mean, like near me. No. I'm just going to use a notepad document. Does that show up in recording? No, it does not. Okay, I'll just type things that I need to remember. So we have Prospit Dreamers are breath, rage, blood, life, and hope. And then we have blue guy is a knight of some sort. All right. Sorry, I had to go back through some of my old footage to remember that because I knew they mentioned some classes, but I had forgotten like who and which classes. But they mentioned before Bard and Sylph as Arcjack and Taz. We don't know which is which perfectly, but Arcjack was on the left, Taz was on the right. They said Bard and Sylph, so my assumption is Arcjack Bard, Taz Sylph, but that could be wrong. So I'm kind of just putting them separately. So there's that. There's Blue Guy as the Knight, and there's the Prospect Dreamers are Breath, Rage, Blood, Life, and Hope. Which is very interesting considering that there's only 5 of them, and there should probably be 6 presumably since there's 12 trolls total. So presumably the 6th one they're leaving out here is the Knight, right? Is Blue Guy, because Blue Guy's already awakened. The rest of them aren't awakened. So that's what I'm thinking about that. All right. You've just finished your time-honored tradition of nightly news fetching on the golden moon of Prospit. The actual delivery is still to be made, but it occurs to you that you should take a moment to go over the paper before you pass it off to him. This place is perfect. Okay, so yeah, the actual delivery is still to be made. So, okay, so this character is delivering the paper to somebody and looking it over first. This place is practically a second home to you at this point. At least you can, the least you can do is keep on top of the local happenings. You share this moon with 5 other slumbering members of your group, with the local inhabitants, which the local inhabitants have celebrated as heroes for countless eras. They are all supposed to be waking up soon. Taking a look at the printed information on your hands, you'll notice the customary guesstimate on your friend's eventual awakenings, along with a very handsome picture of yourself and the nice press operator who spends most of his time thanking you profusely for... You're not sure what, actually. Just being here, you suppose? He seems rather grateful for whatever it is that you seem to be doing at any rate. There's also a headline that worries you a little. Blue Guy Ponder Worries. Huh. This moon and its twin counterpart, Durs, both revolve around a mysterious essence of unlimited creative potential, known to them as Skaya. It has been around since the conception of this medium, feeding the little creatures with endless tales of fate, predestination, and salvation. These 2 moons, however, once held sparkly contrasting views on its existence and purpose. You see, while Prospit worshipped the boundless possibilities the latent nucleus represented, so intimately tied to their beloved heroes' growth as people, Durs had grown to despise it, out of fear that these very same heroes would utilize said force as a catalyst for ruin and destruction. These opinions did not come from a vacuum. While the Dursites were always meant to be antagonistic in nature, certain outside influences have swayed their minds across the eons, as I watched over this universe. Far away from the soothing lulls and promises that come from Skaya's benevolent light, it is harder to stop the nefarious, dismal whispers that seep through the cracks of the furthest ring. Unfortunately, there is not much I was able to do in order to stop this, and even less as time went on its steady march. But I'm getting ahead of myself. As tensions kept rising between the 2 kingdoms, their respective crowds grew restless. Mass panic over the game and its players fanned the flames of war in the opposing lands, and their agents grew bolder, more desperate, way more disruptive to the unfolding of the game session than was originally intended. Until one day, the seemingly dormant Crucible reacted to the turmoil without warning, revoking access to its well of knowledge with the creation of a nigh impenetrable force field, in a turn of events that, admittedly, caught even myself off guard for but a moment. This resulted in an eventual hesitant truce between the 2 moons. 2 kingdoms formerly at war now working together with the aim of releasing Skaya from its prison. No longer was it viewed as the passive, inanimate source of information from before, but rather as a powerful, living entity, angered and disapproving of their past choices. Little did they know that it was Skaya's plan all along to bring them closer together. It seems to have worked quite nicely so far. And while our blue guy knows of these points through personal accounts and retellings originating from his moon's many inhabitants, I am the only one who has all of the little details, the only one who can see the full picture. I am the only one who would know I created all of this after all. Okay, well, obviously elephant in the room, first person again, but let's go through some of this in order. So yeah, looking up, there should be Skaya, but we're not seeing the radiant blue and white clouded sky of Skaya. Is kind of dark and like some sort of force field. It's very interesting. I like the description as unlimited creative potential of Skaya, which is fascinating because it is kind of shaped a little bit based on the prototypings, right? So like it can take different shapes. Very interesting that the seemingly dormant crucible reacted to the turmoil without warning. So it just I don't know. Skaya just like blocked itself off. It just like the force field was created and nobody could access Skaya anymore, including the divination properties of it, the information that it could give people. It's interesting that they've truced. I didn't really see that coming. That's a very interesting twist on this formula of Prospit versus Durs. And it's very interesting that they see Skaya as this living entity who who's angered and disapproving of their past choices, because that's really really reminiscent of like religion, right? Like when things wouldn't go their way, when, like, I don't know, the crops weren't yielding as much, um, or a big natural disaster came and wiped out a town. Like, a lot of people, and I imagine there are people who still think this way, but definitely back before we fully understood those phenomena. And obviously, we still don't fully understand them, but we understand them a lot better. They like people would kind of blame God, right, or a god if they were polytheist, as some sort of living, powerful entity that could control the seasons, the yield of their crops, the natural disasters, and if those things turn against them and make life harder for them, then the gods must be angry, right? But of course, Sky is this all knowing being who has a plan, which is also kind of like the notion of a god, um, who like which like decided to do this, to create this force field, not out of anger, but as a plan to bring them together, which is again very very fascinating. Um, and of course, I am the only one who has all of the little details. The only one who can see the full picture. I am the only one who would know. I created all of this after all. So that could be a few things. One, it could be the author, right? Like author, like some, like obviously, I'm sure there's a big team who worked on this, right? But like there could be an author character, who like the team wrote, and then that character like created the rest of this world and story. Um, Alternatively, it could be someone from the previous Spurb session, who created this world with the trolls, which definitely would be very interesting. How like and then also this the other possibility is like someone who interfered, right? Someone who interfered in this session to the point where things happened a specific, like what I mean by that is like someone who meddled, right? Someone who went in there and tried to orchestrate exactly what's going on here, nudged some details, and was kind of behind this. Perhaps someone who knows how Spurb works. Perhaps even the same that like the person meddled and also they were the one who created this universe through their Spurb session. I don't know, something like that. Those are really the things I can think of about that so far. The intricacies of these cultural affairs are not for you, though. They never have been. Really, you're quite firm in the belief that it's usually none of your business what happens to anybody other than yourself. You prefer to remain a passive observer rather than an active participant when it comes to most quandaries, whether you're directly involved in them or not. And right now, the only thing you want to be involved in is getting this paper where it rightfully belongs. Alright, visit the Hero of Breath. Okay. Tossing it. Okay, going in. Okay. Okay, I don't know who this is. They have the same attire, and either it's a troll we haven't met yet, or it's one that we have, and I am not good enough at remembering like hairstyle and horns in order to like really place this as one of the trolls that we have met already. So I'll have to see what happens there. Cluttering a good portion of the Hero of Breath's dream block is the egregious amount of pre-delivered Prospit dailies you've so carefully cultivated over the sweeps. You doubt he's going to read them, but you've committed to the bit, in your own words, and joke value aside, he could very well gain some valuable insight on the inner workings of Prospit, Durst, and the medium were he ever to take a look at these. Oh well, if it comes to that, in one way or another, you can always tell him yourself. You mean this literally. You also notice that the nice little rest mat you made out of the older prints has been serving him well. During one of your earlier visits, you realize that your friend has the habit of slipping out of his recupercoon in the middle of his slumber, due to all the squirming about that he does. You even tried tucking him back inside multiple times to no effect. He's always had a tendency to be a little stubborn when he wants to. You figured the least you can do is ensure he stay as comfortable as possible. It's what good friends are for. Make your delivery as usual. Okay. Is this arc check? Just because of the brown. Hold on. New tab. Let's go back to the beginning. Oh, I think it's arc check. Yep. Awesome. I saw the brown, and then that gave me more direction to check. Yeah, this is pretty much, this is almost certainly arc check. I'm going to write down breath arc check. I'm going to write that down. And if I'm wrong, so be it. All right. He really wished it could have been, he could have been here with you from the start. Maybe it would have made him a little happier. Oh, shit. Oh. It's just static, but I think there's a frame of something there. Hold on. Okay, I found a tool to look through the frames. Okay, so staticking out and turns into this very briefly smiling face. Interesting. I don't know what that could mean. Whoa, easy boy. You think you're going to go ahead and leave now? Just forget that happened entirely. Alas, I'm afraid things are hardly ever that simple. Some memories tend to linger, whether you want them to or not, cropping back up in the most unexpected of moments. Oh. Okay. One, we have static. Okay. We also have the link is black. All of the links are black. Some memories tend to linger, whether you want them to or not, cropping back up in the most unexpected of moments, like so. Clap. Interesting. So we have bone hands, kind of clutching. It looks like some sort of necklace thing, some sort of pendant of some sort. It looks interesting. It looks magical, perhaps. Was my abrupt appearance a bit of a surprise? I do hope it was. A certain number of unforeseen twists and turns keeps the story engaging, after all. I've been looking forward to our eventual re-meeting. It has been so very long since we last spoke. Okay, so this is first-person narrator guy. And we have a lot to discuss here, of space. You'll still be the blue guy for now, though. I, on the other hand, will be white noise. And we will get through this act together. Ah. You're here. Okay, well, first of all, we have a more normal design for blue guy here. A non-dream design. I like what I can see of their pants. I would like to start off by apologizing. It was so terribly rude of me to exacerbate your lung condition in order to serve my purposes, even though it was the swiftest avenue to transport you here. As you know, time is of the essence on this night. Still, I can't imagine how uncomfortable that must have felt. Then again, that may be simply because I don't have any lungs. Interesting. So obviously this character reminds me somewhat of Doc Scratch, just in a role, I suppose. Oh, okay. I don't think I quite totally processed that this was the same guy that we had spoke to before, but of course it is. It's the blue guy, the symbol. I remember now. That makes sense. It's fine. I'm used to it. But why now? Why now, you ask? Weren't you the one who decided to go to sleep with the express purpose of speaking with me earlier tonight? It's simple cause and effect. I'm only giving you what you already wanted. And truly, I've done nothing but give you what you desire. Have I not? Ever your timeless servant outside of both concept and causality. But I forget my place. For you, there has been a great passing of time since we first made our deal. I think it has been long enough that you have grown in both height and profundity. Before, you were a mere child, meandering through existence and lacking foresight. You were immature, wet behind the ears, full of ill-conceived naivetes. But now, Now you are almost ready. The moment draws near for you to fulfill your end of the bargain. Yeah, I was kind of expecting this, anticipating it really. I just wish you timed the transition a little better is all. What do you want me to do exactly? Ever the pragmatist, aren't you? Always straight to the point, no time at all for any flowery prose coming from these old bones. You intertwine yourself so effortlessly with others, in spite of how boisterous or insufferable they may act. So accommodating, so generous. Could you not do the same for me, just this once? It's a mutual habit of ours, rushing to aid others without a second thought. After all, the roses of our inner lives tend to remain unperturbed whether we prioritize haste and do not linger on messy personal details, wouldn't you say? But perhaps we should take a moment to ourselves. We could learn more about each other. Doesn't that sound nice? Go ahead. Ask me anything. Oh, alright. So, what happened to your skin? Is it just lying around somewhere? And if so, do you, need it for anything? Can I have it? Giving you my skin would necessitate me having had skin in the first place. Man, I just can't win today. Nobody has anything I want. Why do you want this person's skin? That's such a weird thing to want. When you ask someone a question, you must be prepared for the answer, even if it's not what you wanted or expected to hear. Truth is of the utmost importance. Not ideals, though. That's the other Pokemon game. Truth shapes you, molds your very essence. It carves your being like a chisel to fine marble, into what it was always meant to be. Do you wish to know what you are destined to become? What is that even supposed to mean? It means both nothing and everything. The grasping of metaphors and subsequent derivation of meaning is a sign of intelligence, you know. Crypticisms and strange symbols are the intrinsic playthings of a trained, keen mind. They harbor questions that toy with and gnaw at your intuition, that force you to come to terms with the plasticity of your ego. What I'm trying to say is this. They keep you from being bored. I don't want you to be bored. Just the same, I don't want our audience to be bored, and so I tell a story. A story that encompasses all the necessary, engaging elements an audience could hope for. To that end, I strive to say the right things at the right time. All right. You ought to pose a better inquiry. Complacency does not suit heroes. Are you not interested in the game you're about to play? One would think that's the subject matter you should be pursuing. It is the route that would lead to the deepest understanding of your immediate future. However, we cannot talk about that now. We must follow the outline. Each and every conversation has a goal that must be met. To divulge more than is necessary is to crucify any suspense, and with it, the narrative. Storytelling is hard work, almost as hard as the intricacies of social connections. This is why I take us down these winding roads, not because I enjoy taunting you, but because I wish to truly know you. These detours and esoteric topics, these bastardized cultural quirks and painfully ironic twists, they all serve to establish my position as a student with you as my subject. Well, now you're just rambling. I'm going to ask another question if that's all right. To avoid more of that, what more can you tell me about the game? Were you not paying attention? To reveal too much this soon would be to ruin the mystique. I can tell you one thing, though. Your objective is to win, or it would be ordinarily. The game is orchestrated with this purpose in mind, among other things. Unfortunately, this objective is not in the cards for you, group. I'm sure this must come as a bit of a shock, for you and the Hero of Time especially. Okay, Hero of Time. Oh, given all the hard work that went into putting these gears into motion. I truly apologize for this minor deception. I want to finish reading this before discussing too much, but you and the Hero of Time, presumably the Hero of Time being one of the people who, with all the hard work. So I'm going to guess Time first is probably a Durst Dreamer, because Time was not listed in Prospit, and this clearly means that Blue Guy is not a Hero of Time, because the Hero of Time is someone else. So I'm going to say I think Time is probably Murret. I think Murret is probably the Hero of Time. I'm putting a question mark there because I'm not sure. Just because Murret was one of the people who was trying to push the game, right? Get people interested in the game, talk about how the world's ending. Wait, so we can't win? Then why did Murret and I do all of this? Why should we even play your game? Ha! Okay, I got it. I was like two lines too early, but yes, I can remove the question mark. Mert is a hero of time. Awesome. Alright. Hush now. It is not your job to be overdramatic. That's my role to play. Allow me to explain. To fail is not to be faced with an inevitable defeat. You, like all living creatures, will undergo an evolution, though you and your friends will experience these transformations at a rather rapid pace, and through far more esoteric means than is usual. Also, you may become superior versions of yourselves, better equipped to effectively face the trials that lie in front of you. Haven't you ever heard of that saying, try, try, try again? It undoubtedly applies here. We are simply taking the necessary precautions to ensure you get your chances to do so. All right, fair enough. If we're all going to get another shot after we fail, I can handle that. I'm just confused. Why choose a game like this, if there's such a guaranteed risk of repeated failure? Wouldn't it be easier to pick something simpler? If your entire trajectory of personal development was laid out for your scrutiny from the start, plain and straightforward, such a crass display, would you even be interested in following through it at all? Knowing you, I would guess not. Attention spans are not naturally long, and predictably only shortens that which is already unsatisfactory. You have lived for many sweeps already, but how so? Without queries? Without debate? Without protest of imagination, or idle imaginings on the possibilities of the future? You go about your routine, rendering yourself as a slave to the whims of mere circumstance, and you pretend to be satisfied. Why do you do this to yourself? Conscious beings should not suffer with no payoff. They should not endlessly toil under the perceived dogmas of others because they believe that is what is required of them. They should not stagnate. You must orchestrate your own machinations in such a way as to create an offer that cannot be refused, so to speak. Something so enticing that it will act as your personal foundation, a suspense to keep you from falling flat, elevate your character to greater heights. These other games you play, they split in the face of true challenges. They spit in the face of true challenges. They are bred in circuses. Oh my god. Are you not looking for fun, discovery, championship, or at the very least shenanigans? I don't know what I'm looking for. That's why I took your offer in the first place. Wow, that was fascinating. Okay, so first of all, I'm going to go back to the topic. Bread and circuses is very funny. That's not a phrase that I was super familiar with until relatively recently, until the MatPat's food theory video actually on bread and why bread is like the thing the world revolves around. And bread and circuses is the translation of a Latin phrase that was used in Rome. That it's how to keep your citizens happy and in line with the empire, right? Is giving them bread and circuses, right? Giving them food and entertainment. And then they'll be happy. They'll be loyal subjects. That's very interesting. Yeah, this is more than just being happy. This is important. This is challenge. This was fascinating. I like how this character speaks. I really enjoy the kind of rambling that they do, and I'm really excited to see more of them. Very, very interesting. I don't know. I want to talk about it, but what can I say about it? Like, I think it's very interesting. Like, obviously, it talks about attention and like crypticisms and strange symbols on the intrinsic playthings of a trained, keen mind. That's they harbor questions that toy with and not your intuition. They force you to come to terms with the plasticity of your ego. That's really interesting. I think what they're trying to say there is, like if you're someone who, doesn't challenge yourself intellectually, doesn't like that doesn't harbor questions that toy with and not your intuition, right? Like, can kind of fall into rigid patterns of thinking, right? They follow strict routines, not necessarily strict routines. What I mean by routines is not like, oh, I plan my day and I do things exactly the same every day. It's the same tendencies and habits and thoughts and and like without being kind of the opposite of open-mindedness, right? Like a closed mind, a this is how I am and this is how things are and I know what I need to know and I'm right, or I'm not willing to learn what is right, whether or not I think I'm right or I just like don't care, or like whatever, like kind of closing your mind off and just living, kind of in your ego, right? Like in the part of you that just like kind of wants to hold on to what you are already, like are now, rather than being open to change. And the thoughts here that force you to come to terms with the plasticity of your ego, right? The idea that you are not going to be the same person tomorrow as you are today, especially if you keep an open mind, especially if you learn, especially if you are a curious person. If you, like nobody's going to be the same tomorrow, even if they are like more rigid thinking. But, like someone who like, and this is kind of what this person's saying, and I am inclined to agree to an extent. Obviously there's a bunch of nuance as well here, but like these things that challenge you, these things that go against your preconceived notions of the world, that make you like think outside the box, that make you come to terms with that cognitive dissonance that sometimes you will make someone averted to learning things that they don't already know to be true. Um, and it can, and then like your ego, what you think is you, could change and will change, and changes depending on your perspectives on things, your perception of things, and doing things that like this, like the criticisms and trained symbols are intrinsically things of a trained, keen mind. They harbor questions that toy with and gnaw at your intuition, that force you to come to terms with plasticity of your ego. Like not being bored, like those kinds of seeking information and seeking puzzles and seeking those kinds of things grow your mind in a way, in a way that allows you to. I don't know. I'm trying to find the words for this, and I am not. I don't think I'm saying what I mean to say right, but I hope you guys understand what I'm trying to say. Yeah, just I know the plasticity of your ego is kind of really the phrase here that I find the most interesting, right? Like, the changeability, the morphability, the stretchability of you, of what makes you you, of the perceived individual that is you. I also, of course, am somewhat interested in Buddhism, as well as various other spiritual practices and perspectives on the world. And like they kind of like the Buddha kind of taught this idea of no self, no birth, no death, right? Like um this kind of fact that the ego, the kind of the self, is an illusion, right? The I am an individual separate from the world, separate from other individuals, separate from the tree in my backyard, is an illusion, right? And we are kind of all waves on an ocean, but the waves aren't separate from the ocean, right? They're just like a manifestation of the waves are kind of just a manifestation created from the water of the ocean, but it's still a part of the ocean. And that's kind of like there's perspective of when a wave comes and goes, that's a person being born and dying. But the stuff that makes us both materially and everything else is just, and all of the energy that is us is also the universe's energy. Nothing is created or destroyed, it only changes forms. So while we will no longer have human bodies after we die, there are many ways in which we continue, in which literally our energy continues into something else. Our actions and intentions continue in the people we influence, etc. Right? So that's kind of one of the things that reminds me of the kind of constantly changing nature of what you even perceive as yourself, and how you are both the same and a very, very different person than you were 20 years ago, right? 20 years ago, I was 3, right? Like I'm 23 now. I'll be 24 later this year. And I'm a very different person now than I was when I was 3. I'm a very different person than I was when I was 10. I'm a very different person than I was when I was 16, right? Like, and we just change throughout our lives, right? There is no, like, individual, like, every atom in my body is different, right? Like, I forget the exact number, but, like, every few years, like 7 years or something like that, every atom in my body is different, right? So, like, clearly, I am some creature in this universe who has some perception of self, but in reality, I'm just that. I'm a leaf on the tree of life, right? Like, there's different branches and different, maybe the forest of life. I'm a leaf in the forest of life. I like that. I like that phrasing better, right? Like, and we're all leaves on the forest of life, the forest of the universe. Sorry, I've been reading Thich Nhat Hanh. I'd really recommend Thich Nhat Hanh's book, The Art of Living. It's very, very good. I honestly, yeah, yeah. If you search The Art of Living and then try to spell Thich Nhat Hanh, I'm sure you'll find it. If you're not sure how to spell it. Sorry. Anyways, let's continue. I hope you understood some of what I said. And if you disagree, or if you do agree, or if you have any further comments on that, feel free to leave a comment. Like, I'm happy to engage in discussion with you in the comments. So yeah. Be sure to do that if you have thoughts, positive or negative, towards that. Just please keep it constructive. Don't be like, oh, you suck, you're wrong, you goddamn Buddhist. It's like, don't be like that, right? But, like, you know what I mean. I wouldn't necessarily call myself a Buddhist, by the way. I'm kind of more open-minded to various different perspectives on the world. I just like learning about them. And I think Buddhism is an especially fascinating one. Especially some of the teachings of the Buddha more directly. Because there are some, like, I don't know. I don't need to go into that. If you read The Art of Living by Thich Nhat Hanh, he'll go into that. Okay. We were there. Okay. And yeah, so telling a story, mention of the audience, people like me reading it. Very interesting that, like, the telling a story is canon. I really wonder, like, if it will be talked about where the story is written. Like, is the story going to be, like, preserved in the place that, like, Rose Lalonde's, like, guide is preserved, or is the story just kind of this ethereal concept or fourth wall shattering concept that connects them directly to this website, to me, to the audience. Blah, 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 talking about the game. It's like, aren't you interested in the game? I would assume that was your question. Yeah, but then they were like, I can't say more information about it because, it's narrative, storytelling, twists. And then it's like, okay, tell me more of the game. It's like, well, you're not paying attention. But it's very interesting that, objective normally to win. Winning Spurb is the normal, like, the Genesis frog, and that kind of thing, creating the new universe, the victory platform, etc. Homestuck, basically. But that's very interesting that their goal is not to win, right? But they say to fail is not to be faced with an inevitable defeat. Transformations and other rapid pace. So, you, like all living creatures, will undergo an evolution. So I presume the evolution, my guess would be dying on a a quest bed or a sacrificial slab, right? Presumably god-tiering is the evolution that's mentioned here. Although through far more esoteric means than is usual. Yeah, superior versions of yourself, so that is definitely god-tiering. Is that what they mean by fail? No, I don't think that makes sense, because it seems like it's unusual that their objective isn't to win. So what are they going to... So I don't really know... I don't really understand what he's getting at in terms of the goal of playing the game. But I guess, just in good time. Alright, more stuff. Let me take another drink of my tea. So you agreed because you were afraid. You let yourself be crippled by your doubt. So very fearful of making the wrong choice. You effectively refused to act on your own terms, pushed along like the currents of fate with no resistance. Do you feel like you're doing something wrong? That being here with me right now is wrong? I guess I'm always kind of afraid of messing something up. I mean, this is a big deal, right? I don't even know what any of this means, let alone do I feel confident enough to handle it. But what is your alternative? Would you rather return to your old life? Would you rather live out the rest of your days stitching bodies back together, hoping against hope that the next one you find will not be of someone you care about? Look at yourself. In this tale I weave before you, it becomes clearer with every word that you care deeply about those who do not care for themselves. Death is familiar company in the world you live in, and healthy minds are few and far between. And without this deal of ours, the cycle of existence itself would be broken by a force of total annihilation. You are far better equipped to handle this than you know. Maybe even more than I know, if only because you have no other options. You are in many ways at the end of your rope. In much the same way I am nearing the end of mine. Take these words of advice, if nothing else. There are some instances in life where it is blissful to be ignorant. True understanding can beget torment for the mind, leaving initiative at the mercy of atrophy. The more you understand, the more difficult it is to act, and we cannot risk indecisiveness when so much is at stake. Just remember what I've told you. The rest shall become clear whenever it needs to be so. To be honest, that freaks me out a little, but I suppose I don't have much of a choice at this point. I did make a promise. Fascinating. Okay, so also, kind of tying back to before, there are some instances in life where it's blissful to be ignorant. True understanding can beget torment for the mind, leaving initiative at the mercy of atrophy. The more you understand, the more difficult it is to act, and we cannot risk indecisiveness when so much is at stake. That is very interesting. It's very true. Ignorance is bliss is a very true phrase a lot of the time. I think in a lot of cases, it's not useful to be ignorant. In a lot of cases, people will choose to be ignorant and blissful at the expense of others, at the expense of not dealing with really important issues, either personal issues or global issues. But it is very true. Like if you had if you had all the knowledge, I imagine it would be easy to act. But if you had a lot of knowledge, but not all of the knowledge, then, it would be a very kind of an indecisive thing, because you'd have to weigh everything, and you have to figure out all of the options, etc., right? So, it does make sense why ignorance can be useful in some cases, and that's definitely why you see a lot of... there are a lot of fictional organizations and media that have, like, a need to know kind of rule, and I imagine there are organizations in reality that have this as well, but I can't assume, right? Like, they kind of do, right? Like, because it's a whole types of classified, right? Like, so different people have different levels of security clearance and can know different types of classified information. It's like I need to know. Not only for secrets, but and a lot of times in the media that I'm talking about with some of these special organizations that have need to know, it's like, no, do the order, right? Like, you don't have to know the big picture. All you have to know is your part in it, and that's the way you can get that done most efficiently, right? That kind of specialization thought. So I definitely, and I think that definitely kind of makes sense when you're this author guy attempting to almost orchestrate these trolls into their session, into this game. It's like, don't worry about it. This is the information you know right now. The rest will become clear with time. If I give it to you now, you're going to freak out. You're going to not know what to do, and everything's going to go bad. So just be yourself. Just figure this out. Just play the game, and you'll learn. Very interesting. Oh, there's that pendant, yeah. and the grace you have shown in keeping your word leaves me all the more confident in my decision. What I am about to ask you to do is not merely a service to me, but rather to yourself, as well as to those who you are about to play the game with. Understanding this will help you in your personal journey. You walk an isolated path. Like the story itself, it will splinter, seeming to careen endlessly into the obscure realm that is space. But it is not without purpose. In fact, it is purpose incarnate. Allow me to show you the reason for our meeting. This is the green sun. Okay, that makes sense. It did not occur to me that that was the green sun, but it totally is. It's totally the green sun. Fascinating. Okay, how is the green sun going to play into this the session? Obviously a Homestuck thing. Yeah, that sure is what it looks like. Very descriptive, I guess. But I don't know what it is, or better yet, why it is. And now I can tell you that much. It is the very essence of existence, the force which powers the complex multiverse you inhabit. From its most structured life forms to those that are ostensibly entropic. I preside over all of them. It provides a heat so pure, so powerful, that it is able to sustain the thin dividing line between the eternal perpetuation of life and the all-encompassing destruction that awaits beyond it. It was a gift from my Maker, and it is my very heart and soul. With it I have been able to protect all of creation from certain oblivion in their stead. But soon, like all living things before me, I too must face death. My bones are old, and my heart has grown weak. As such, it must be returned to its birthplace, lest the breath be choked from the very cosmos themselves. That is your duty. Fascinating. That is our deal. This is going to be what fertilizes the end, as well as bring about a fresh new beginning. Make sure the imperative nature of its purpose is not lost on you, literally or metaphorically. But I suppose that is for later. We are still in a safe portion of this tale, as much as the amount of foreboding statements that has been ever increasing. The gravity of it all is yet to truly settle on your shoulders. That said, with this particular expository section out of the way, how about a joke to lighten the mood? No more pesky navel-gazing. I know you tend to be quite taken with the types that can do that. Those who can laugh it off, who do not worry over much, almost as if turning your gaze inwards causes you discomfort, and you seek to alleviate that somewhat. Oh, I seem to have accidentally veered towards introspection again. No, I don't suppose that last line set me up for comedy. There's not much here that calls for laughter, if I'm being honest, nor anything that allows for some sort of wisecracking explanation. Such are the drawbacks of being the lone mouthpiece of existence itself, residing on my own inside a bleak, fuzzy void. I am reminded that I have a myriad of delightfully I don't know that word. Bone. Yep. Okay. That makes sense. Osseous puns and props that I was planning to exploit later. Perhaps I could make an exception here just for you, and deploy some of them a bit ahead of schedule. I have to admit, this current visage I'm borrowing lends itself extremely well to a certain brand of visual gags and cheeky turns of phrase. It amuses me greatly. Now, if you could stop making all those odd sputtering noises. Oh, that's right. You're supposed to be asphyxiating now. I'm afraid there's not much I can do for your real body, as physically discomforting as this may be. Such are the beats dictated by the will of narrative flow. In this specific case, taking the form of quite literal fickle beast. And we must dance to its ever-present tune. It does sadden me that you can't stay here longer, as I would very much appreciate the company. You've always been a favorite of mine. You know all your friends are. Well, I suppose it can't be helped. It's about time you woke up. A candid farewell is all I will part with, but I shall remain here, and as always, I will be watching over you. A thought has come to me after all that. A thought pertaining to the number 12. I believe at this point, it is quite apparent that the seemingly arbitrary value holds some form of importance in this tale. Did you note that the two digits, when placed side by side, are thought to be the perfect number? According to old planetary wisdom, in any case, of course, the amount of stock put into these antique notions varies by individual, as these things tend to. Quite fitting, then, that there are 12 main characters who unknowingly taking their places on camera. 12 souls who, once again, are set to give their own lives, and the lives of others a deeper meaning, freedom, and most of all, a final chance at continued being. 12 facets of reality compounded into the core of what defines these young trolls as themselves. Their very essence, like a bright, burning center of untapped transformative potential. That's amazing. Like, this is really cool. Absolutely. I love this character, right? Definitely really reminds me of kind of like Alt Cali vibes, right? Like, but clearly some other, like, speaker of the existence, which must have theoretically existed in Homestuck, but like, you know, for Vast Error. I don't know, you know what I mean? You know, what didn't really have a part, but unless Hussey was the keeper of the Green Sun, and then the Hussey is the former master of this prison. That'd be funny. I don't know. This is very, very interesting. I like the number 12. Isn't it beautiful? But I think you already knew that much, didn't you? Please stand by. I can't. Okay, that. I don't know if any of you are gonna relate with me on this, but when I was younger, I played a lot of humongous entertainment games, including Putt Putt and Pajama Sam. My favorite was Spy Fox. And in Spy Fox, there's a little like watch that connects the main character to like the command center, right? And every time you get a call, it said like it does please stand by before the connection is made, and there's a voice that goes like please stand by, and like now that voice comes to my mind saying that phrase. In any case, aha, there's all the symbols. It's time for us to return to our scheduled viewing. That's cool. All the different aspects down there. And it's finally time for us to get better acquainted with this elusive blue guy. Allow me to put myself back into the proper context for this introduction. To continue or to stop? That is the question. We'll continue a little bit. We'll continue until the perspective changes. Enter name. Aw, that dog is so cute. Oh my gosh. Nice little cave area. It looks like taxidermy, maybe. We've got like a rug made of, carpet made of skin and fur. Cool. Your name is LAIVAN. Oh, okay. LAIVAN. I'm gonna say LAIVAN. Fuck. Okay, I'm gonna say LAIVAN. LAIVAN FERROO. LAIVAN FERROO. It's LAIVAN FERROO. You were born with a rare and quite severe lung condition due to a mishap in your reduplication process. Your lungs are a few sizes too small. That phrasing, a few sizes too small, reminds me of the Grinch heart, right? And The Grinch Who Stole Christmas. His heart was a few sizes too small. Which makes it hard for you to string long sentences together or partake in any sort of intense physical activity. Acute lack of breath is a very serious issue to you. Okay. I wonder something, right? Here, hold on. Okay, maybe not, but aspects have opposites, right? Light void, space, time, life, doom, right? Breath's opposite is blood. And if we know already that breath is arcject, right? So it can't be like some, the aspect is breath and it's somehow a lack of it. But so maybe blood is this character's aspect. Like that's complete like hypothesis, not writing it down. But that was just what I thought of when it says lack of breath, since breath is an aspect, so I doubt that would be completely unintentional, right? Not that this stops you from giving those ventures a shot regardless. In fact, you spend a majority of your time hunting big game with your trusty custodian, Mutt. You like to think of yourself as quite the sharpshooter when it comes down to it. If not in terms of raw gun-toting skills, then at least in the total positive net worth of your firing attempts. Which is to say, you've had a number of horrible accidents involving your rifle and stray bullets. But one of those incidents ended up changing your life for the better, significantly so, considering it led to you meeting a very special someone, and you're both far happier for it, or so her preferred method of framing the situation goes. You also enjoy performing taxidermy on the animals you take home, turning them into statues, trophies, and assorted knickknacks, which you then sell online for a living. You're not sure why anyone is interested in buying the stuff you make. It's all just for fun, but hey, you're not going to say no to financial compensation, especially when you're always running out of glue. Oh, and you're pretty avidly into knot tying, you guess, just as a fun pastime. You're terribly bad at it and just end up leaving a majority of the tangles you make lying in the corner over there. Other than that, you enjoy gaming with your friends. You're personally more into the classic titles than any of the fancy new releases that have been consistently pumped out in recent sweeps. Call you old school, but the notion of a virtual simulation warping reality around you kind of freaks you out a little. As such, even though you did rank at the top of the leaderboards in a game of this nature with an old friend, the aging anthropomunicipality remains a big guilty pleasure of yours to this day. The message it tries to hammer into everyone's skulls doesn't really stick the landing when it's coupled with a polygonal mess of multicolored, vaguely Lucy-like player avatars glitching all over the place. And that's exactly why you love it so much. The ham-fisted, poor presentation has a certain lo-fi charm to it, you think. Your troll tag is Windless Artificer, and you speak in a measured way that lets you breathe when it's needed. What will you do? All right. Very interesting. I'm also into the older games. So Anthropomunicipality, that's like a pet city kind of game, right? Okay, actually, hold on. I've heard that word before, but I think that reminds me of oh gosh, there are definitely I don't know. This definitely harkens back to old online games with animals, pet avatars you can get. All right, what will you do? LAIVAN, retrieve green sun. Oh no! Oh no! 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 It's not on you. You must have been able to take it back with you. You must have not been able to take it back with you when you left the static. Oh, never mind. It was just sitting on top of your desk. I was the one who put it there for safekeeping, by the way, just in case any anticlimactic shenanigans saw fit to take place. Like, say, your canine Lucis developing a gustatory interest in a piece of universe-encompassing jewelry. We simply cannot have him hypothetically cracking said jewelry with his tiny bark beast teeth, as that would lead to the entirety of your physical reality being consumed in a hellish torrent of bellowing green flame. Wouldn't that be just an absolute letdown? I guess I was able to get that joke out of my system after all. You're very welcome. Joke? A joke about if it were to... Sure. Oh, new symbol. In any case, you're free to hold onto this pendant now that the imminent danger has passed. You decide to follow your original plan and just keep it around your neck, nice and cozy. As you're gearing up to safely tuck it inside your shirt, you notice a single unchecked message from that special someone you mentioned before. LAIVAN, examine computer. Oh, that's so cute. They got LAIVAN actually has a background, like a background of him and her, which is really, really cute. Corpses and everything else. Oh my gosh. All right. I like LAIVAN a lot. LAIVAN's great. LAIVAN's definitely one of my favorites. All right. Nice and sleek skin. After sparing a brief but fond glance at an old memory, lovingly caught on camera by a friend, you open up your Scorp client. It is with some difficulty that you avoid the lure of another gag-filled round of Municipality. That symbol reminds me of Toontown. Right? Right. Oh my gosh. Look at this. Look at this Toontown setup.ico. Original launch. It's Toontown. Guys. Guys, that's crazy. Guy. Listen, I played Toontown a little bit once upon a time. I didn't get very far into it, mostly because I never got a membership for it. But, I saw that, and I'm like, that reminds me of Toontown. Why? I'm not sure. It's been years, perhaps a decade, but maybe longer. But holy shit, it's just literally the Toontown. Okay. Yeah. That was awesome. Guys, I really like this comic. I'm really enjoying Vast Terror. I'm loving it so much. I'm so excited to continue this. And yeah, and the two things tipped me off. One, that logo, and the gag filled. And I knew, like, town, like that was like city or town. I was trying to think. Gag filled. Gags are are like the things that do damage in that game. I'm pretty sure. It's been so long. Oh my god. But it seems that King Murit Dynagadget is a little busy right now. This thing's no fun without company anyway. Yeah, Toontown and Wizard 101 were both games that that I had played a bit in my youth. Your Scorp theme is called Buster Blues. It is an exact copy of the systematic stock theme, only it makes the whole interface a nice calming shade of blue, including the notifications at the beginning and end of every conversation log. Quite possibly the best theme there is, in your humble opinion. I like it. LAIVAN Answer Special Someone. LAIVAN is awesome. LAIVAN is so good. LAIVAN is the best bean, and, oh my god, Comic Sans. Okay, before we get to that, LAIVAN is, like, so cute, and he's clearly somewhat, like, reserved and afraid of fucking things up based on what he said in like, what was in the narrative when he was in Prospit. You know, kind of not wanting to participate in things but more observe. LAIVAN is awesome. Hi! Hey, LAIVAN, that's me. I know. But hey, listen. Hey, listen. Watch out. No, you listen. Wait, what? Oh, I didn't actually have anything to say. I just wanted to keep up with the listen gag. What's up? Well, I got UK's memo about this big game thing we're all supposed to do as a group, right? But I don't really get it. I mean, I'm a big fan of wacky plans and assorted shenanigans, as you know, and by golly, did this guy ever know how to get wacky with the best of them? I'm feeling this one might be a little too complex to wrap my simple cranial thinker around, though, which is really saying something because I can kind of understand what he's saying some of the time, probably. The point is, I know you're a bit more buddy-buddy with it than I am with Mr. Technodrome, so do you have any actual readable information that you can bestow upon me? Did he give you a briefing too? PD, pliable decadence, by the way. Yeah, I talked to him a while ago. Pretty sure that he at least shot that memo in everyone's direction. Well, except hers. For whatever dumb reason, he managed to come up with. But as far as, like, an in-depth lowdown of why and what exactly we need to be doing, I'm not really sure myself. Just that it's been something he's chipped away at over the sweeps, which I know you already know, and it's at least kind of important, I guess. Yeah, but why? I don't know. It just is. Trust me. So you're telling me that we are blindly following instructions of a greasy fishman without, one, any plan whatsoever, and two, a complete and total agreement from the entirety of the friend riffraff? I mean, yeah. Oh my god, color me about 322 shades of skeptical. I love this. Oh my god. 3 horns. Oh my gosh. That's unique. That's very unique. Kind of reminds me of a jester hat in a way. Though, you're at least curious about it, right? This sounds pretty interesting, if nothing else. This is not your usual type of game delivery method. I mean, yeah. Are you just saying that to mock me, or do you actually mean it? A bit of both, duh. That works. I seriously can't believe we haven't had anybody speak up and say, no, I don't want to do this. This sounds dumb. Or if they did happen, they certainly haven't tried very hard to get their point across. As far as I know, this is all just kind of happening. Man, tonight is really is the night where when things decide to happen. I'm tired of things happening tonight specifically. We need a new thing happening tonight. We need a new thing happening tonight. I'm making the motion for it right here and now. And since everyone apparently just doesn't care, I'm assuming they'll all vote for it. I'm all for that. It'd be cool with things happening a bit more differently, a bit more on a different night. Shake it up a little. Sadly, I don't think we can change the universe's affinity for this one pattern. I go through a constant cycle of, like, nothing happening ever, and then suddenly, like 100 things decide to happen on this night. For reasons unknown to us mortals. Other nights too, sometimes, but mostly this one. Some good came out of it, though. A few sleeps ago. Woof. Are you making a reference to what I think you're making a reference to? There are a lot of things that occurred tonight, so I just want to be completely super duper sure that this topic we're on here. I totally am, the good part of it, not the bad part of it. Oh, so you mean the part where you shot me in the leg permanently and leaving with me a limp forever? Yeah, that's the bad part. The part I didn't want to talk about. Can we please not talk about it like that? But it's important to our history. How many people find true red romance over the course of a single night? I've said it before and I'll say it again. That bullet was magic. No, the bullet was just a bullet. Trust me, I checked. Everything that happened after the bullet was magic, though. Man, we really are just all of the things that they say are wrong with feelings and romance, huh? Did you know that? Oh yeah, I sure do. Completely gutted by the fact. How did we continuously insist on this slapdash whirlwind affair for 2 sweeps now? Oh wow, that's long. 2 sweeps, 6 sweeps is 13 years, right? So, 6 is 13, so I want to do 13 divided by 6 times 2 is 4.33. So that's like 4 and a third years. Oh wow, same. Me too, dude. Usually after that happens, though, I send a little heart emote, and then I feel better. Heart. Bam, now everything is okay, and I can tell you that I love you. Thanks. Say you love me back, and also happy anniversary, you maggot weasel. I won't be able to I won't be able to go be worried about this game situation amicably if you don't do that much for me at the very least. We've already started getting cheesy with it, so you need to seal the deal. Come on, wolf boy, stick the landing. Okay. I love you. Happy anniversary. This is so cute, guys. This is so cute. And I'm very glad I've stuck with you. A feeling is mutual. Now I'm going to go ahead and look for more info on what in the Sam hell all of this nonsense even is. Then I'll probably forget I'm doing that and just stay optimistically anxious. Something tells me that in the machinations of chief executive TV set control freak, you are not going to end up compromised by little old me. But promise me something? Yeah? Keep an eye out for Alpocalypse news, alright? They haven't managed to sink their jesterly claws in around here yet, but I don't put anything past his nasty wiles at this point. Honestly, if you wanted to enlist us in his horrific, accordion-packing, polka party murder circus, we would already know that by now. Whatever, I just can't believe it's still gaining traction. To think I used to be the biggest fan and supporter of a long-haired cultist goon who's since gone on a crazy rampage complete with a militia and otherworldly demons just for the sake of his own sadistic amusement and giant ego. Guess stuff like this really makes it seem like the world is going to be ending soon, huh? Guess we'll find out. Yes, we will. Don't smile like that after all this ominous talk. It's scary. Bye, LAIVAN. Heart. Oh! I'm sorry. That was just really cute. And I really like their conversation. And I really want to meet PD more. LAIVAN examine drawing on desk. Ooh, that's cool. It's a really good drawing. It kind of looks like your Lucis, but kind of more ferocious. It's a sketch of one of your two original characters. This one is called Figment. He's a nightmarish construct birthed from the psyche of your other character, Abel. Kind of like an imaginary friend, only he's very real and doesn't really act like much of a friend at all. They're supposed to be mirrors somewhat, and have certain parallels in the ways they behave and carry themselves. You got the idea after you first arrived in Prospit. Ah, that's very interesting. That's cool. LAIVAN pet Lucis. You give Mud a light ruffle on his head fuzz. He's incredibly receptive to the gesture. The little guy is not the brightest of them, sure, but he has plenty of heart to spare. A good boy if you've ever seen one. Aw, LAIVAN examine shelf. You walk towards your nearby shelf and take a moment to look over its contents. It's been a while since you've done a proper inventory of your supplies. As you were distracted by the spoils of the hunt, you went on with your Lucius. With your Lucis. I said Lucius, that was weird. Lucius Malfoy. At least until you decided to lay down for a spell. Your workroom is not very good for impromptu napping. Not like this dog bed over here. On your shelf there are 482 pieces of printer paper, one pencil case with approximately 5 pencils and one kneaded eraser, one extra sewing kit, one militant horde brand army knife, one line of hope adorned with permanently unloosened knots. I said line of hope. Line of rope adorned with permanently unloosened knots. Now that makes more sense. And one empty glue bottle. Damn, you were hoping there'd be at least a drop left. The one next to it is spent too, and you can't really use the dry glue that's attaching your Lucis toys together. What a total letdown. You were kind of absolutely expecting. Guess you were just going to have to dig into the crevices of your workroom to find some extra lying around. You really, really need it. Oh. Oh, okay. Oh no, that's Albion. Please, I'm sorry for bothering you, but I don't know what's happening. I've lost who I am. I need someone to help me. Please just help me, please. Oh God, it hurts. Jeez. What? The last time we left Albion was a while ago. He can't help you. You can't save them. You can't help anyone like you were supposed to. Okay, so she's still okay. So she's not like amnesiac or anything. She's just really defeated. A wave of regret and aimless despair crashes over you, stifling, suffocating. As soon as you hit send on those messages, doubt tastes bitter on your tongue. For the first time in your life, you don't know what you're supposed to be doing. But we're gonna check Albion's mood ring next time! That was so much fun, everyone. Like, I had so much fun today. Vast Error is so fun. Like, I keep, like... Vast Error is always so daunting for me to record, just because I'm like, I'm gonna sit here for an hour and talk, and just talk and read, and it's gonna do horrible things to my voice. But, you know, as long as I've got a drink, I'll be fine. But this story is really good. Like, I know people in my Discord server, in my, it's for my collab channel with my friend Jay. You won't find that here. It's over on that channel if you have any interest in that. But yeah, like, there are people in there who don't like Vast Error. There are also people who do like Vast Error, right? We've got haters and supporters in there. But this is great. Like, this is so good. I am so invested in this. The characters are so good. The plot is so good so far. That character in the static area that, like, is really cool. I'll call him Black Text Guy, I guess, for now, right? Black Text Guy, rather than White Text Guy, Doc Scratch, right? It's really good. It's really, really good. I'm enjoying this so much. Like, I am really shocked at almost like at how much that I like this. So you bet we're gonna keep doing this. You bet, you bet. Another thing that I want to mention before we end off this video is someone in the comments pointed out to me that there's a visual novel for Vast Error, and that I should read that around page 1,000. So I'm gonna do that. I think that's a great idea. So that's what I'm gonna try to do. Because they said that there's more of a point, like it's less of when can I read it and more of when should I definitely read it by. And if you have thoughts on that, if you disagree with that timing or whatever, then please comment below. We can have a discussion about it down there. Anybody who cares about when I read that can talk about it, which I think would be very constructive. Otherwise, if that sounds good to you, great, thumbs up, and yeah, I'll definitely get to that when we get to that point in the comic, and it'll just kind of like, I'm not sure if I'll consider it the same series or a different series yet, but it'll take the same slot as Vast Error for the duration of it, and then I'll get back to Vast Error, right? So it'll make sense. So I did want to mention that, but yeah, I'm so excited for the next one. These are so fun. These are so fun for me to do, and I love it. I love doing the voices, even though I'm gonna forget all my voices between episodes. It's harder because I read Homestuck, right, with Jay on Ariah and Jay for the first time, and that was a really fun series. But we had two people to split the voices across, so we'd both, sometimes we both have voices for certain characters, but later on when we got to the trolls and such, it was more like we each were certain characters. Jay was Carcat. I was Vriska, things like that, right? And it was a little easier to manage the voices like that. And, maybe I'll get the hang of it, but there are a lot of voices that I have to remember because I'm just one person. I hope I do get better at that as time goes on. I think I will. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching this. If you enjoyed it, leave a like. That would be greatly appreciated, but only if you did enjoy it, and subscribe so you don't miss when these come out in the future. If you ring the bell as well, you'll get a little notification for when I upload, which will be very useful if you see it and you're like, oh my gosh, Ariah uploaded. Yeah, I should go watch that. Or if you're busy and not available right when I upload, which is totally fine, you may leave the notification around. And in a few days or when you are available, you can check it and be like, oh yeah, that's right, Ariah uploaded a video recently. I should go check that out. So it's a very useful tool if you are interested in this series and wanna know when these episodes come out. I'm trying to get them out weekly on Sunday, but I missed last week, for example, so I was really sorry about that. And yeah, I hope, I hope you guys have an awesome rest of your day. I love all of you. You guys are awesome, valid, and amazing, and just beautiful people. And I'm so, 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 so proud. And I'm so, so, so happy and grateful and amazed and just I love that I get to share this with you. I love sharing this with you, and I wouldn't have it any other way. So thank you so much. Thank you so much for everything. I love you all, and bye everyone.